Hello, everybody! Welcome back to the Marquette Golden Eagles Dynasty here in NCAA Football 14. Today we're going through our Year 3 offseason, and I'm really excited. It should be very eventful. We come off a big loss in our bowl game against Penn State, 45-7, but we're not going to talk about that anymore. It's in the past, and we're not going to look ahead towards the future. So for next season, our projected rank is 106. And as I've kind of expressed in recent episodes, we're losing a bunch of players. Over 20 players are graduating, and that matches our total combined in the first 2 years. So this might be a bridge year, might be a kind of a building year with a lot of underclassmen. But going ahead, we'll kind of have our own players that we've recruited into the program, and I think we'll see a lot of growth maybe going into Year 5. We'll see how it goes, though, in Year 4. Obviously not, turning it in or anything. We're going to compete, and I think we'll still have a very good season. But we're up to a C for contender grade, and we're now a 2-star program. So things are going up here for the Marquette Golden Eagles, and we should have a productive offseason. Really hoping we can get lucky with some transfers, but either way, I think we'll have a strong showing in recruiting. We kind of went over a lot of stuff already to end last episode. All-Americans we covered, award winners, as Johnny Manziel, the Heisman Trophy winner, but Brett Hundley took home a lot of hardware. TJ Yeldon was the Doak Walker Award winner. Michael Thomas was the Bolitnikoff Award winner as the top receiver in the nation. But we're going to go through player stats and just review how we've turned out this season. So Greg Walker took over as the starter in Week 4 and after he came in against Louisville and led a comeback win, another overtime matchup there with the Cardinals. Just under 2,000 yards, but 11 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, and he had a very good season, very efficient, 68% completion. And Ruben Brown started as our starter. He was experienced, sat behind Haywood and Koufax there in the first 2 seasons, so wanted to give him a shot, but just really wasn't getting it done. No touchdown passes, 3 interceptions, and then Lawrence Jackson, a fellow freshman here with Greg Walker, he didn't really have much playing time, 5 out of 8, a touchdown and an interception. In the backfield, Dowling ended as our leading rusher, 703 yards, and that's the most any back has had thus far in 3 seasons. Theo Briggs, though, did end up as our all-time leading rusher. 20 touchdowns, far and away our leader there, but 1,178 rushing yards, and Dowling had 1,130, so 48-yard difference there as Briggs just edges him out, but yards per carry over their career, Dowling 4.9, Briggs 3.7. We know he was kind of a short yardage specialist, but Dowling really emerged this year as our feature back, although Dowling 2 more carries, but like over 150 more rushing yards. Tyson Bolt, 238 yards, 3.4 yards per rush. He'll end his career with 582 and 7 touchdowns. Greg Walker, 177 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. Norwood really fell off this year, only 3 yards per carry, and no touchdowns this year. He'll end with 618 rushing yards. I think that's going to be 3rd or 4th all-time. He still ended with more than Bolt. Dusty Alexander, our true freshman, 70 yards on 14 carries for a solid 5 yards per rush, and he's probably going to lead our running back by committee heading into Year 4. Receiving, of course, Grant Cooper was our guy, 655 this year, 8 touchdowns, and 11 all-time, 11 throughout his career, 1,623 receiving yards, 144 catches, and he's going to end as our leader in all those categories. We will get Jordan Pinson and Thad Archibald back next year, which is huge, and they should be our top 2 receivers. Both of them with 2 touchdown catches. Each of them averaged at least 14 yards per catch, and they both had around the same, pretty much like equal production across the board, honestly. And we'll see who can end as our leading receiver next year. Randall Darby is going to graduate. He was solid, nothing special, but he was really our only possession type receiver with some size. We will have more size in the receiving core next year, though. Dowling over 100 yards out of the backfield. Scott and Walkport, we definitely should have got more involved this year, but we're going to use him. I think we're going to use him as a running back a little bit next year, kind of our wildcat guy, as he's one of our better athletes on offense. Scott Dixon, he's going to graduate. Couldn't get him over 100 yards. And Kevin Coleman, the true freshman, 60 yards on 7 catches. Blocking, Cooper had 8 pancakes, no sacks allowed. And he'll actually end his career with, I think it was like 17 pancakes, no sacks given up. Jackson Lyles, we're losing him, our top lineman, started every game at left guard in the first 2 seasons, and then transitioned to center this year. Very good showing there. 7 pancakes, just 1 sack allowed. Scott Dixon, 6 pancakes. We're really going to miss these 2 tight ends. We're going to have Malcolm Graham, and after training, he should go up to like a 74, but I don't think we're really going to be able to run many 2 tight end sets next year. Not nearly as much as we have these last couple seasons. Justin Hill, our stud freshman commit. He's going to be a 4-year starter, assuming he stays all 4 years. 3 sacks allowed. Kind of up and down play, but he really should stabilize next year and assert himself as our top lineman. Sean Murphy, we got him in year 1 in that recruiting class. Pretty good play at left guard. Heidemann, he'll be our left tackle. Brian Joseph's going to return, and we were considering moving him to center just because he has the experience, a 72 overall, so he should be a high 70 after training. And then if we transition him to center, he probably could work into the 80s. So we do need to replace our center, and I think we might just transition Joseph, but we're keeping it open. Defensively, Davin Rice led our team in tackles. I think the past 2 years, 60 this year, 66 last year, 9 tackles for loss, a couple sacks. And we're going to have to replace him as our middle linebacker. Tyler Black, he started every game at strong safety. We're going to have to replace him as well. 3 sacks this year. He had an interception each season. Philip Marshall, we will get him back, luckily, in the linebacking core. I think he's our only returning starter at linebacker next season. More of a coverage guy, and we're trying to get him more involved next year. I mean, we had him out in a lot of nickel packages, but didn't get an interception. I don't think he had any passes defended, so I don't know. We'll see what happens with him. Kenny Johnson will be a starter at corner. I mean, he pretty much was a starter all year as our nickel guy. But I think him and Robert Williamson are going to form a very good tandem on the outside as Johnson will step into Juice Campbell's role. Campbell only 1 interception this year. 4 in year 1 with 2 pick sixes, but only 2 combined the past 2 seasons. But he'll end as our all-time leader in interceptions with 6. But Robert Williamson, the true freshman, just 3 behind him. He led our team with 3 interceptions, 1 for a pick 6, 6 pass deflections, and he actually was a freshman All-American along with Greg Walker, our quarterback. Chance Pelland, I was really surprised to see him end with 32 tackles, especially because he only had like 3 or 4 starts at free safety, but he was very active as a special teamer, and he's going to be our starter at free safety next season. Kind of emerged as a good kick returner as well. Barry Barber led our team in tackles for loss and sacks, as he's going to graduate and leave as our second all-time leader in sacks with 14, and I think our all-time leader in tackles for loss with 28. A very good presence over there as a pass rusher and defending the run. Daniel Armstrong, really going to miss him. He was a fun player. Racked up the tackles for loss, 22 in just 2 years, 9 sacks, and he was a big impact guy. I loved him off the edge. Just the type of guy I love as like a 3-4 outside linebacker rushing the passer, or someone in a 4-3 who could put his hand in the dirt and still get after the quarterback. Demetrius Bush was all right at free safety. Williamson, Dalton Corbett, a 1-year starter, but 8 tackles for loss, so played the run very well. Gavin Battaglia, our all-time leader in sacks, will end with an even 20 and 27 tackles for loss. So that actually might be more than Barber. I know Barber, 1 more tackle for loss than Battaglia. Aaron Clark, our freshman corner, and he'll probably be our slot guy next year. Rob Bain, he had 2 sacks in, I think, week 2, and then he didn't record another one the rest of the way. I mean, we kind of mixed in Battaglia and Thurman. They had seniority, but Bain is going to be a huge disruptor next year, and I honestly see double-digit sack potential from him. 2 forced fumbles, and he's going to be the guy we rely on in the trenches as Battaglia and Clarence Thurman here move on. Thurman only 7 tackles, 2 for loss, 2 sacks, but as I've said, kind of a guy who takes on double teams and opens things up for guys like Battaglia. So kind of an unsung hero, but Clarence Thurman, thank you for your service, and we certainly appreciate your efforts. Antonio Carr, freshman D-end, 6'5", 252. He was a 72 overall and just a stud. 4 sacks and 11 tackles, 9 of them for loss. I was kind of surprised to see he didn't make the freshman All-American team, but with Core and Williamson, we have 2 good building blocks there on defense. About tackles for loss, we kind of talked about all these guys. Barber and Armstrong, the only guys with double-digit tackles for loss, and then Carr up here with 9. Davin Rice, Corbett, Tyler Black, Marshall, Bain, Kenny Johnson. Barber led the way with 7 sacks. Carr and Battaglia 4. Armstrong, Black with 3. interceptions. Williamson was our only player with multiple interceptions, but we did have more than last year. I think 10 altogether. And we'll see if Williamson can repeat that next year. Also, 6 passes defended. Kenny Johnson with 4, Juice Campbell with 2. Rob Bain, 2 forced fumbles. And I think we had 2 touchdowns. Jerry Jones, he had that scoop and score for 68 yards back in, what was that, like week 3 against Ohio. Our only touchdown of the game as we won that one 10-7. And of course, Williamson had a pick 6 as well. Kicking, Dylan Mackey, 12 out of 15, and was able to hit beyond 40 for the first time. He made every extra point. He'll end 100% there. Overall, 79% with field goals. 31 out of 39. And we're going to have a new kicker next year, and I'm not sure how that's going to go. Mackey he hasn't really been that good, just lack of range, but we actually have a JUCO kicker, a JUCO kicker that we're pursuing, so we'll see how that goes here in recruiting. Eddie Stevens was very good, 5 down inside the 20, and I want to say that like 3 of those were inside the 5. What was his net? 32.3 net, so not that great. We'll try to shore that up. Kick return, Pelland was a little bit better than Campbell, 2 more yards per return, as long as 65. And Pelland will likely be our kick returner next year. Pinson, he had a punt return touchdown last year, but only averaged 11.3 this year. Now, I do want to look real quick here at national leaders, and we'll just peruse this fairly quickly. Brett Hundley here at the top, and after this season, we're not going to have many more, like real life players like you see here, Brett Hundley, Everett Golson. So it's going to be kind of just our fresh dynasty. It's going to be all generated, from our recruiting classes, all that. So next year, I think will probably be the last time we get real life players. And I kind of just want to go through some of these guys. 48 touchdowns for Paul Millard, as I think he also did lead in passing yards, which he did out of West Virginia. Austin Apodaca. Trevor Knight, end of the year hurt. Johnny Manziel, the Heisman Trophy winner. Like I said, we're just going to rush through here real quick. Luke Turner led in rushing at Rice. Briante Dunn was very good in the national championship. TJ Yeldon, the Doak Walker Award winner. Terrell Davis, Jordan Canzeri from Iowa. Max DiLorenzo, we saw him. Corey Clement, the New Jersey native, and also Eagles Super Bowl hero. Matt Jones from Florida. Todd Gurley here, a 99 overall. And like I've mentioned, we might transfer these guys into Madden 25 and see where they get drafted and stuff. 20 touchdowns for Dunn, 19 for Yeldon. Receiving, Dominique Williams from Washington State. The only player with over 100 receptions, as he also did lead in receiving yards. Kelvin Benjamin from Florida State. Any more? Devontae Adams, we played against him. Paul Turner, we played against him. We beat both of those teams. Michael Thomas, the Biletnikoff Award winner, national champion. Jakeem Grant, what a fun player he was to watch back in the day. 5'6", 165. A touchdown. 17 here for Matoyer and Singleton. Blocking, Taylor Decker, future first-round pick of the Lions. Tackles, Denzel Nkemdiche, the Biletnikoff Bednarik Award winner, also top linebacker. Tackle for loss, 33 there, Paul James, ridiculous. John Taylor, I think he won the Nagurski. Jordan Points, we played against him, actually transferred to Arkansas State from Texas A&M. Sacks, 2 guys here with 12.5. Dominic Twitty from New Mexico and John Taylor from Georgia. Like I said, he won some hardware this year. Interceptions, Dante Dayon with 10. Imagine just getting an interception in almost every single game. Armani Reeves from Ohio State. A few guys here with 8. A few guys here with 7. Sean Davis, future draft pick of the Steelers. Trey Waynes, future first-round pick of the Vikings. And that's what I really like, seeing some of these old guys, some of these current players. Marcus Peters. And we're not going to go into kicking or all that. So now I just wanted to, put in some groundwork here, review the season. I guess we'll just look at the national championship game as well. Is it going to let us from this point? I was hoping to get a box score. Ohio State against Texas A&M. It was a good, very good matchup. But the Ohio State Buckeyes go on to win their second national championship in 3 years, 37-27. Last time we looked at offensive stats, but I actually didn't even pay attention to defense. Manziel had 2 interceptions, 270 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, another touchdown on the ground. Receiving Pope there, 27.8, 88 yards after catch, ridiculous. Just 1 sack, it looks like. I don't think Cardell Jones on the other side threw an interception. Cardell Jones, less than 50% completion, but didn't turn the ball over. Added 81 yards on the ground. Briante Dunn, great game from him. At a big stage, over 100 with a touchdown. Michael Thomas averaged 32.7 yards per catch. 131 with a touchdown. Sacks here, interception. Who had the interceptions? 2 from Reeves. And he might have been the MVP, forcing 2 turnovers here in a 2-score game. Von Bell, Garyon Conley, Eli Apple, Noah Spence, Billy Price, a center in present day, or at least he was in his career, but a D tackle in this series. Probably, I guess that's what he got recruited as. Joshua Perry, a bunch of noteworthy guys here from Ohio State. And like I said, I like looking at these old players and seeing how they turn out. I guess we'll look at our coach info as Lance Leipold. What was it? 3 years in the books now. What's our record? I think we're even 500. 19-19, 3-2 against the top 25, 0-2 in bowl games. We are now up to a B+ prestige. And the administration here at Marquette really pleased with the job we and Leipold have put in, and we're going to keep building into year 4. With that, we're now going to advance, and I apologize if that was kind of a long intro into the offseason, but like I said, we got to put in the groundwork and just go over, some key things here. So here we get our first look at some recruiting guys we're pursuing. Chris Carter at middle linebacker, would love to get him, but we really need to prioritize one of these tight ends, Craig Watkins or Ted Ross. I think we're going to pour heavy points into Watkins and Carter as well. One of these D ends, I think Hudson, we have a big lead on him, so I think he'll ultimately end up committing. I don't think we really have the luxury of pouring points here into Wright, as we really have to go after Watkins and Carter. So Hudson, we're hoping we can maybe just get him without pouring anything into him, but we'll see how it goes, and we'll get a look at our board here as we advance through these phases. Now we get another look here at Lance Leipold. So we're entering our 4th year. We got a 5-year extension last season that we signed. Our target wins per year at 7, so we're hitting our goal. And I think that's probably what our goal going into 2016 is going to be. I know you would expect, more better win total, but realistically, like I said earlier in the episode, we have extreme turnover here, so it's kind of going to be like a learning year, a building year. And then I think going into 2017, year 5, we'll be ready to make a really legitimate national jump as our recruiting classes kind of take shape here. So we kind of got the T-Mobile bars going on, 4-8 to 6-7, made a bowl game in year 2, and now up to 9-4. So we're seeing very good growth, and I think we're getting national attention. And I think going into next year, we might have a good crop of recruits interested in joining the Marquette football program. And as customary here, we'll start with the coaching carousel. And I'm hoping we can maybe get some coordinator upgrades. I mean, I wouldn't mind if both of them return, but at this point, we might see some turnover in that spot. So Les Miles fired from LSU, and let's see who they decide to bring in. And we're actually getting consideration for this LSU job, and that's crazy. I didn't expect to see such a big jump. We were a Coach of the Year finalist, and LSU goes with Temple head coach Kenny Edenfield, and Temple actually won the AAC, and he's going to bring an air raid attack there to Baton Rouge. And now the fellow SEC Tigers, we go from LSU Tigers now to the Auburn Tigers, and they fire Gus Malzahn. Pat Narduzzi under consideration. Nick Holt, defensive coordinator for the Buckeyes. Brian Harsin, he had a very good team there with Arkansas State, and we got rocked. They ended up going with James Willis. So UL Lafayette made the national championship last season. Their head coach took a better job. The Raging Cajuns end up promoting James Willis, their defensive coordinator, and then he leaves after 1 year to go for Auburn, his alma mater. Now Larry Fedora fired at UNC. So we were getting consideration for the LSU job, but not the Auburn job nor North Carolina. Mark Snyder, now Pat Narduzzi. And they do go with Narduzzi, the head coach there of Miami of Ohio. I think he spent 1, maybe 2 years there, but now he's going, and he's going to coach the Tar Heels, a disappointing 4-8 season there in ACC play. Derek Mason fired after, I think, 2 years here in Utah. Just did not get it done, and I think that was actually his alma mater as well. Didn't really give him any time to build. And they're going to go with Ohio State defensive coordinator Nick Holt. And now Oregon State. And those are just like the top jobs. Now we'll kind of go a little more quickly through these. And we are getting consideration for Oregon State. They called Noah Mazzoni twice. Called Mazzoni back. And ultimately they go with Ian Shields, Western Michigan head coach. 6-6 season there. But he does get a job upgrade for whatever reason. Now Miami of Ohio. And we'll just start clicking through these ones quickly. Mark Snyder, defensive coordinator there from the national championship appearance. Aggies, he'll now be the head man with the Red Hawks. NC State, surprised to see them below Miami, a couple other more underwhelming schools. NC State still in the ACC, but Dave Dorn gets fired. Wake Forest down here too, so the ACC conference prestige seems like it's dropping a little bit. We are under consideration here. We're getting calls, but we're not getting offers. Now they're calling us. Now they're calling Doc Holliday. And they do go with Doc Holliday. NC State very thorough in their search. And I do like Doc Holliday, a very good coach there. 10-3 Marshall team. Played them last year. And now he'll be in the ACC. So now Marshall jumps up to the top job spot over Wake Forest. And the Thundering Herd are considering us. Lou Spanos there. Ron Turner from FIU. Noel Mazzoni. And from Ohio now to Marshall, Mazzoni goes from the MAC to the Conference USA. Wake Forest now, Temple, the next best job. And we are under I'm just waiting for an offer so we can decline it. Daryl Hazel, he gets fired from Purdue last year. Offensive coordinator at Ohio State as they win the Natty, and he has a new head coaching gig. Now Temple, 10-4 last year. And we do get our first offer, and that's funny. My brother's alma mater. I'm sorry, bro. I'm not going to Temple. I am not living. I love Philly, but I would never live there. Decline. Love to see that we get an offer, though, and I'll certainly keep that in mind for the future. Temple, the first other team, to offer us a head coaching job. I hit decline before. We'll stay with current offer. So Ohio also came calling, not Ohio State, just Ohio. Lou Spanos to FIU. Central Michigan, we beat them. They're now down to a 1-star program. Bob Davie. And he calls Central Michigan a better job than New Mexico. That's interesting. Now Kansas, Gus Malzahn, that'd be funny if Les Miles ended up at Kansas. They called him. They're calling other guys. And Payam Sadat from Army, he's going to end up with the Jayhawks. I really was hoping they'd go with Les Miles there. Tulsa ends up hiring Les Miles. So Les Miles going to the AAC. Yo, Lafayette, they're way down here despite a good 8-4 year, and they were in the Natty last year. They go with Don Brown from Temple. So Temple is going to see a complete overhaul there with their coaching staff. Western Michigan hires John Thompson from Arkansas State. New Mexico, they get Gus Malzahn, so that's going to be a fun team, I think, the Lobos. And they're going to give Obscure Victories Gaming a run for their money in building that program back up. Florida, the defensive coordinator, they go back with DJ Durkin. He was great when he was at Michigan a few years back. Mike Stoops, re-signing as the D coordinator. And we won't do all the coordinator spots, just these top schools. John Butler goes from Penn State to Ohio State. D coordinator here for Texas A&M. Larry Fedora, good boost there to the Aggies coaching staff. Bush Hamden from Arkansas State goes to Ohio State, and I really like that offer. Playbook style Arkansas State, the multiple playbook, and that's kind of what we base our offense around, that same playbook. Duke hires Derek Mason as the head coach, and the Blue Devils, another ACC team, all the way down here below a few coordinator spots. So Mason goes from one head coaching gig to another. Defensive coordinator here for LSU. They move on from John Chavis, go with Keith Patterson, Nebraska, DC. And that's going to do it. We'll just sim ahead. We're not going to go through all those, but definitely I like to cover at least all the head coaching spots along with some along with the top coordinator spots as well. And I'm going to assume that our coordinator spots stayed the same, but we will just double check that. And yeah, no movement here at all. Actually, I mean, Army has to get a new DC. But otherwise, the head coaches, all the coaching among the independents remains. So we're going to hit players leaving now, and I'm really, really hoping that we have no transfers. I don't think we should. I wouldn't be surprised with one, though. So we'll just jump into it and see what we got. No transfers. Whew. And we can breathe a sigh of relief now. Go through our graduations here one last time and pay homage to these players who are going to go on as post-college graduates. And I wonder what's in store for these guys. Grant Cooper, his jersey might end up in the rafters one day. Number 84. Lyle started every game on the offensive line. Juice Campbell, Dylan Mackey, everyone's favorite kicker. And we won't have him anymore. Theo Briggs, Thurman, Battaglia, Scott Dixon, our first ever commit in this series. Randall Darby, Davin Rice, Ruben Brown. Put in his time, but it just didn't quite work out. Someone, maybe we'd bring back as a coach or something to run the offense one day. Barry Barber, Storm Norwood, Dalton Corbett, Tyler Black, Demetrius Bush, Dexter Dowling, Tyson Bolt, Bruno Montoya. Offensive lineman didn't really see any time. Daniel Armstrong, Nate Blanchard, a reserve linebacker. Jabari Branch, he started a few games in year 1 and 2, but kind of our swing tackle this year, and I don't think he ever saw the field. 8 sacks given up over his career. Brevin Nash, a reserve DB. Chauncey Owens, I don't think he ever saw the field on offensive line. Tracy Gordon, just a 63 overall senior. And that's our last look here at these players. And who was your favorite? Let me know in the comments who you really enjoyed watching over these past 3 seasons. So this might be a little different, but I think I'm going to scroll through each team individually. And I want to check out these transfers. I kind of like the suspense when you sim ahead to transfer requests, but I kind of like to see who else has guys leaving or coming in. Transfer here from Alabama. A bunch of guys declaring here from Alabama. O.J. Howard, Jonathan Allen. And I kind of like looking at the declarations as well. Caleb Jones, Trey Griffey from Arizona. So we will see. Hopefully we get a transfer, but if not, what are you going to do? And I will just go through these quickly, and I'll probably skip ahead in editing so you don't have to see me scroll through all these. Xavier Howard, he's staying, and I think we're going to schedule Baylor next year, so we might see Xavier Howard, of course, heralded corner in the NFL with the Dolphins. Might get a game in against him. A couple transfers here from Boise State, but neither are coming to Marquette. So we're still just scrolling along here now into the H's. Houston, I have 2 quarterbacks transferring. Neither are coming to Marquette, though. Illinois, Indiana. Wes Lunt actually transferred to Indiana from Illinois. Just spends 1 year there with the Hoosiers and now declares for the NFL draft. Iowa State coming up. And obviously, when we hit teams that are closer to us, in the region, proximity-wise, a better chance we have at getting a transfer. Still nothing as we're into the K's. LSU, Louisiana Tech. Still nothing for Marquette. And, we might not get any transfers. We didn't last year. And I feel like this is probably the last year we might be up for receiving a transfer. I feel like the deeper you get into these rebuilds. Is this MU? Is that MU Marquette? I think we might be getting an offensive line transfer here, if I'm not mistaken. Bobby Marcus, a freshman. But we won't, I'm pretty sure that's us, but I could be wrong. Kevin Byard, we played against him. And I don't think we really even need an offensive lineman. I would really like maybe a quarterback, although we did sign a quarterback. I don't know if I ever mentioned that. We did end up getting that quarterback, Martin Diggs. He visited on senior day and then ended up committing the following week. Pretty good quarterback here from New Mexico State. Transferring to UCLA, a 76 overall true freshman. He had 100 pass attempts, 56 rushing attempts, and he's transferring due to playing time. You would think he would get more there with the Aggies than he would with the Bruins. Now through North Texas, NIU, and I think we might get a game against the Huskies. They've been beating us bad in some recruiting battles, They might have beaten us here for this lineman who's transferring. He's going to UMass Northwestern. Mario McBride, MU. I think we might be getting this guy too. A 69 overall true freshman running back. But like I said, I'm pretty sure that's us, but I feel like it might be like illuminated yellow if it were. That would be nice. We could use another running back. We do have 4 underclassmen. Joey Bosa here declaring for the NFL draft. Oklahoma. Okay, so that's the end of that. Nothing really else of note. And we do have to save this class. If we do one day export it to Madden 25. And so, yeah, we might be getting 2 transfers. And I know that kind of ruins the suspense of it. But like I said, I do kind of like going through it and see what's going on, see who's transferring. But that would be nice if we get that running back. I'm pretty sure that's us. I'm pretty sure. So now we are here at transfer results, and it is the moment of truth. And that was us on both of these guys. So Bobby Marcus, I think we actually did try recruiting him last year. And actually, I'm positive we did. So he ends up committing with the Spartans, but instead he's going to end up at Marquette anyway. 66 overall true freshman, going to have to redshirt next year. What's his strength? 73 strength, not the best, especially on the inside, but like I said, he's going to have to sit out a year, so that'll go up a little bit. A good run blocker at 77. Want that impact to go up a little bit, and the stamina at 68. I don't really think that's going to hold up too well. Mario McBride, another true freshman here, 69 overall running back. And with him, we're not going to have to recruit a running back within the next year or two. 69 overall, 87 speed, 84 agility. And he gives us like some much-needed athleticism to the offense. 79 elusive, 72 break tackle. The carrying now at 63, not good. So ball security probably a concern for him. Look at that stiff arm though. 82, spin move 81, juke move 82, and a decent route runner as well. So Mario McBride, I think he's going to be a playmaker for us. And 2 huge additions, as no transfers last year, but we get a couple this year, and we get very lucky. And now we are at recruiting, the biggest phase of the offseason. And like I said, Chris Carter and Craig Watkins are going to be our priorities here. And not to complain, but I really would have preferred like a speedy wide receiver or maybe like a corner or a speedy corner or safety in that class. So what we've had 18 commits so far. We'll just get a look at our recruiting board. And we'll start with guys we've already committed for those who are not up to date. Martin Diggs, and we don't have him fully scouted. We're not going to spend the 45 points on it. We'll just wait till we advance. Usually we'll uncover their full scouting after we get them committed. He started off as a 70, went down to a 65, so I am a little worried, especially that throw accuracy at 72. Not good. Hopefully the throw power, though, will be good enough to outweigh the bad accuracy. So Diggs, we do get a quarterback, and we will have 3 on the roster next year with they'll be sophomores next year, Greg Walker and Lawrence Jackson. Jason Taylor, a very good run-defending safety with actually good man coverage traits. Dominic Green, I had him slated as a strong safety, but 76 speed, so I don't really know about that. But poor block shed, so he can't really play linebacker. He doesn't have hands, but decent route running, so obviously a defensive player, but he doesn't have the block shed to be a linebacker, but he doesn't have the speed to be a safety, so I really have no idea still what we're going to do with Dominic Green. Was really hoping for better speed there. Mike Green, he's going to be probably a red shirt. Just brought him in for some linebacker depth. Jack Mason. So we only have 2 tight ends right now on the roster for next year. Malcolm Graham and now Jack Mason. So we really need one more to kind of give us some depth there. Dylan Anderson, a good sized receiver at 6'4", 220. Not good speed, but a big target, and he'll be our tallest receiver. Travis Thomas, tackle, just to add some depth. Probably redshirt. Michael James, he's going to kind of take over in our Theo Briggs role as our power back. John Daniels, interior defensive lineman, just add some depth. Probably a redshirt. Jonathan Leak, a good coverage linebacker, who will probably put it right outside linebacker to succeed Philip Marshall in that spot. Jake Witherspoon, we're probably going to work him into our D-tackle rotation along with Bain and Reggie Watkins this year. Now, 2 JUCO commits. We got Doug Childress, a 77 overall, 6'3", 200. Not that good of an athlete. At least speed-wise, 83 speed. You want something better at receiver, but makes up for it with tremendous route running and very good spec catching traffic and release, all at least 84. I think he's going to be a junior, so he'll have 2 years of contributions, and so he'll probably be one of our top weapons. Kevin Davis, I've been saying all along we want to transition him to corner just because we really lack options there. But you love the hit power, 84, 82 pursuit. Decent coverage ratings at 74 man, 75 zone, in which the press was a little better, but probably be like more of a zone corner for us. Play him off the line and just let him make big plays closing in on receivers in the short game. Sam Manning, our top, according to the national board, our top player that we've got. I really like his capabilities as a pass catching back, and he's someone who's definitely going to be in the rotation this year. Rick Ken, a 2-star athlete who's probably going to be on the offensive line, but I think might be able to play D tackle. They love the block shed at 71 and the power move at 78, but we'll keep our options open with him. Went up 8 points to a 66. Then Richard Walker was our first commit this season. Went up to a 66 after scouting. A very good lineman. And I will go up and kind of figure out our plan of attack here. So Cody Dobzinski, the kicker, we really would like to get him in, but I don't think we're going to pour any points. Taylor Jones, we're not going to pour any points into him. We're hoping he just commits, but I think, Kansas State, they're not too far behind. And we really needed one of these corners as well. I forgot about these guys, James Washington and BJ Lewis. But seeing as how they were in-season additions, I'd rather prioritize these guys we've been going after all along. So tight end-wise, we're actually down less for Ross. Well, let's figure out Carter. So we're only up by 500 on Oregon. And I think it might be an offseason where we just kind of like go 5,000 for both of these guys and just see if it works out. Like I said, I'm really hoping Hudson commits. We have a little bit of a lead over Miami of Ohio. Zachary Wright, we're behind on Buffalo. We're not going to do anything with him. Dobzinski. So I don't really know how it works. I know sometimes players don't even commit. Is that because I'm not sure why players don't commit sometimes? Like at this point, Dobzinski's only his interest is only in the yellow. So if we don't pour any points in him, can we still get him, or does it have to go up to green? I know Obscure Victories, you'll have an answer for me on that. Jones, we're hoping he commits. And then Washington and Lewis, we offered them late in the year as we really need some corners. But again, kind of with Dobzinski, is it like a waste to pour points into them at this point? We have big leads over Washington State for Lewis, over Boise State. So if we pour no points in and Boise State doesn't, can he still commit to us? I know it might sound confusing, but I know Obscure Victories, I know you know what I'm saying. So I think we're just going to go with it. We're going to do 5,000, Carter Watkins, kind of similar approach to last offseason when we just kind of went half and half on Justin Hill at right tackle and Robert Williamson at corner, and it did work out for us. So we have Carter up to 5,000. And I honestly kind of dumb, but I realized not too long ago that I could just hit the right stick and it'll put max points. I don't got to sit there and keep it going. So we have a bigger bonus though for Carter by like 110. And let's see. So Oregon slipped 90 and we slipped 120 for Watkins. So I think we might have to pour a little more into Watkins, not much. I think we'll go down to like 46.50 on Carter and just bump up Watkins a little bit. It was so weird, like for Watkins and Ross, we had like high lock percentages into like week 3 or 4, and then they just never ended up committing. And then you see here Michigan State, Notre Dame in the fight for Watkins, Ross. We're just going to I really like the size of Ross though. 6'4", 274. That is absolutely absurd, but D strength, you would expect more there. But I've always preferred Watkins a little bit, so I think this is what we're going to roll with. Hopefully Hudson commits. Hopefully Taylor Jones here commits. And just gives us a little more depth in this class. Washington or Lewis, that would be awesome. And Dobzinski. But like I said, we're just going to probably stick with what we have at kicker next year, even though it might be rough. I forget what his name even is. We brought him in last year. Just hope. We brought him in mainly as some insurance if we weren't able to get a kicker in this class, which it doesn't look like we're gonna. So here we go. We're going to advance through recruiting. We just throw points at two guys. Hopefully by next year, maybe not with the pace that we kind of get our skill tree going up. But hopefully soon we'll be able to bump up our off-season recruiting points and be able to spread it out a little better. And here we go. Should pop up any moment now. And I think we were up to I think we had a top 50 class coming into signing day. So we do get our top 2 guys. Chris Carter and Craig Watkins are coming to Marquette, but it looks like we missed out on everybody else, unfortunately. So everyone else did commit somewhere, so I like to see that. Ross does go to Iowa State. Zachary Wright does end up with Buffalo. We battled with them all year. Ryan Hudson ends up going to Miami of Ohio. Taylor Jones to Kansas State. But actually, Dobzinski, see, that kicker did not commit. And it looked like the game signed an extra player for us, maybe even more than that. Now at signing day, let's get a look at our ranking. Last year, so we started at 101. I think we went up to 76 last year, something like that. And now 73. So we actually dropped a lot from, at one point during the season, I think we were like top 40. And now we finished down here at 73. Clemson just one above us. I feel like they do kind of fall off in these dynasties, though. Who else are we? We're better than UW. UW 21 in the nation. And I'm shocked to see them all the way down here. Army way down here. Louisville way down here. Duke. Rutgers. Hate to see that. They're not going to have a pleasant stay in the Big Ten throughout the rest of this series. Arkansas State way down here. New Mexico all the way at the bottom. That's usually how it goes, right? Gus Malzahn, right? The new coach there for the Lobos. We'll scroll up, see who finishes at the top. I think Oklahoma, when we last checked, was number 1. And they are going to finish number 1. USC, Alabama, Ohio State, Texas. Like the usual suspects up here. Georgia Tech at number 8. They get a 5-star this recruiting cycle. Michigan at 12. Minnesota at 13. A 2-star Minnesota program. 5-7. But they actually did defeat Michigan this past season. So interesting results there for the Golden Gophers. Boise State, I think, the top group of 5 team. Wake Forest up there. They have a new head coach this year. So that's going to do it here from signing day. Let me bring up our class, this other menu. And it's weird because how it's ranked here, it doesn't rank them that way on the national board. Like I said earlier, Sam Manning is actually our top. According to the recruiting board, the national recruiting board, Sam Manning is the top guy we brought in. I don't know if it just ranks them by the order they commit. Maybe that's what it is. Actually, and we get B. Harris here, a receiver. We didn't recruit him at all. Anyone else? So looks like we're gonna end up with 18 commits. And what was that? 76. So kind of similar to what we finished last year, if not exactly the same. And we'll get one last look at this recruiting board. So Ryan Hudson to Miami of Ohio. And yeah, Dobzinski didn't even commit, so I wonder what the deal is with him. Brian Diggs didn't commit. I guess no one was really... I guess what, he didn't have enough points poured into him. BJ Lewis goes to Indiana. Bunch of guys here who we just added them late. A bunch of these guys didn't really go after them. We were just kind of testing the waters, throwing darts and seeing if anybody would commit. And you also got a review here. Craig Watkins. So it's going to be Watkins, Jack Mason, and Malcolm Graham at tight end for us. We'll work them all in most likely. Chris Carter, really excited about him. I don't think we've really had a big time linebacker commit. Comes from Delaware, Ohio, the third 3-star, 21st ranked middle linebacker. Zachary Wright, thought he might end up with us, does not, nor does Taylor Jones. And this is it. So 18 commits. We're going to have to cut one player that the game just signed for us. And coming up here shortly, we'll actually see Martin Diggs, Chris Carter, and Craig Watkins, their fully scouted ratings. And I don't think I've ever actually shown this menu throughout this series. We'll just take a look at our pipeline states. And projected, our new next year, we're going to have Michigan, Wisconsin. Ohio, we're in danger of falling out, so we're going to have to bring in a couple guys from Ohio, hopefully Illinois. And that's where the majority of our roster is made up. 16, or projected at 16. Wisconsin, we definitely want to, get our home state here. Minnesota, Iowa, just outside. But otherwise, we've stayed very true to our recruiting rules as we Like I said earlier in this dynasty, we're going to stick to our region, states that border us for the most part. I think Ohio is an exception. Does Ohio border Wisconsin? Doesn't look like it. No, it does not. But, still close enough. And we have a bunch of guys from Ohio. And you see all these pins. So we've really kept our recruiting in region, which you like to see. Now we're here at position changes, and this honestly is probably my favorite part of the offseason. I love, working things out and filling spots and seeing how things go. So Martin Diggs actually ends up as a bust. Starts off as a 70 overall, goes all the way down to a 63, and that might explain why teams weren't really in on him. His throw power at a 79, adequate, but he doesn't offer anything really as a runner. Poor speed, but he'll probably mostly be a backup here. I mean, Greg Walker is most likely going to be the guy, so Diggs will just add some depth and kind of probably sit out on the bench and maybe in his senior year take over as the starter if we can't get anyone better in. Running back, Mario McBride, currently our top running back. Michael James, Sam Manning, 2 freshmen that we brought in. Craig Jones redshirted last year, so Alexander probably will get the bulk of the carries, but James is going to have the Theo Briggs role, and Sam Manning will get involved as well. Jeff Harris will return at fullback. At receiver, Thad Archibald will probably be our highest rated player on the roster. Doug Childress, the JUCO receiver, will get some action. Jordan Pinson, of course, will be our vertical threat. Probably get him involved on some underneath routes as well. And F.A. Scott and Walkpour, we really want to get him involved as well. So we're going to have an upgraded receiving core this year, and we really need that, with the loss of Grant Cooper, who was really our mainstay in the passing game. Kevin Coleman, he'll get some more playing time as our number 5. But following this year, Kevin Coleman's going to probably be the guy along with Doug Childress. Archibald, Pinson, and Scott and Walkpour will all be gone. So we'll have a revamped receiving core going into next season, where Dylan Anderson here will also get a bump in playing time. Bryant Harris was the receiver that the game signed for us, but he's going to get cut. We don't keep players like that. Kenneth Pope redshirted, only a 60 overall. And here are the tight ends, very inexperienced. Malcolm Graham, a basketball player by trade, 6'6", 254, but making the transition here as a tight end, kind of, like the Jimmy Graham, Antonio Gates. Obviously a far step down from that caliber, but we're just hoping he can go up into like a mid-70s and see some good progression in the offseason. We haven't really paid attention to his ratings. A catch each of the last 2 seasons, one for a touchdown. His first career catch back in year 2 was a touchdown catch. Decent speed for a tight end at 78. Good acceleration, decent agility. He would like better awareness, though, especially at a position like this. Decent catching, 75. Route running will be low 70s. Not a bad blocker, but not really a good pass blocker. Better run blocker, and hopefully those traits go up as well. Good strength at 77, I guess. And break tackle at 67, although the impact block at 59 is not good. I think Craig Watkins he's also a bust, so I think we made the wrong play at tight end. At least Jack Mason went up 7. I don't know why he's not a gem, though. I feel like anything plus 6 and above should be a gem. Craig Watkins goes down from a 71 all the way down to a 64. Good speed at 81. Strength, though, poor at 66. No agility at all. 62. Jumping bad. Not bad catching, not bad route running, but really everything else not that great. So I think Mason will definitely be our number 2 tight end, and Watkins, he's gonna have to step it up a little bit at tackle. Heidemann, of course, is gonna be our left tackle for his second season after transferring. Riley Kent, one of the original members on this team, only a 65 overall, 5th-year senior. This is where it kind of gets interesting, moving these linemen around. So we're going to return 4 starters on the offensive line, but it really is just a question of who's going to be the center. And like I was saying earlier, I think we might just go here with Brian Joseph. He was a part of our original recruiting class at JUCO, and he's set for his senior year. I like having an upperclassman at center, kind of commanding the offense. Marquise Cole not ready, redshirted last year, just 63 overall. I think we actually might move Bobby Marcus to center and have him take over after Joseph graduates. I think that might be the play. Tito Cruz here is under consideration. Another senior, but he hasn't really seen much playing time. Richard Walker, a little too tall to be a center. Bobby Marcus, 6 foot, so he can get low. Maybe a little undersized there, but you definitely don't want him outside. Want to keep him on the interior, and I think center would be a good spot for him. So we'll move him there as he goes to a 67 overall. And I think we'll also move Brian Joseph there as he goes up to a 73. So now, who do we have at right guard? That's really the question. And I think, are we just going to put 2 seniors there, Don Inge and Tito Cruz, and just have them battle it out? Riley Kent will just keep at backup left tackle. Dan Johnson will probably be our swing tackle, though, a little bit better than Kent. And so we need another right guard there. And so Sean Murphy will have another 2 years starting. And yeah, I think we really just go between, it's going to be between Don Inge and Tito Cruz, as we'll have 2 seniors battling for the right guard spot. So our offensive line will have 4 returning starters: Heidemann, Murphy, and then center Brian Joseph will go from right guard to center. And Tito Cruz and Don Inge will battle for the right guard spot. Both part of our original team. Cruz 6'3", 305, 68 overall. Don Inge 6'2", 292. Strength, they're pretty much even across the board here. Speed equal, strength just 1 point. Awareness exactly the same. So blocking traits are really going to have a big difference here. Pass blocking, Cruz a little bit better, but Inge a little bit better as a run blocker. Impact block pretty much the same, but I think Cruz might be the guy just because we need pass blocking and run blocking. There really isn't much difference there. We'll figure it out, though. We'll let them compete for the spot. Right tackle, of course, will be Justin Hill. The highest overall we've gotten to commit thus far, coming in at a 79. Now, at DN, Antonio Carr, Jerry Jones, they're going to be part of the rotation along with Mike Johnson and Taylor Conine, another senior who was part of the original team. No really playing time, but we'll work him into the rotation next year. As we have 4 pretty good DNs who all deserve time. I think Carr probably the most talented, but Jerry Jones and Mike Johnson, along with Conine being upperclassmen, they're certainly worthy of playing time. D tackle, I think Rob Bain is going to be our defensive MVP next year. Reggie Watkins, part of our original team, but not much playing time, a sack last year. And we love the size at 6'4", 328, and he's going to be a very good nose tackle. The disparity between these guys is pretty funny. Rob Bain, 82 speed, Watkins, 58 speed. Watkins a little stronger, and I think a better run defender. Witherspoon will be part of the rotation, but I think Daniels will just redshirt, as we'll just keep 3 defensive tackles. But, I mean, you know, Carr, Jones, they're big enough, strong enough to take snaps on the interior. Linebacker, now this is where it does get a little tricky. So Chris Carter does go down 2. He was at a 70. Started out as a 69, so a 2-point swing there, ultimately -1. And I think he's definitely the middle linebacker of the future. Clay Diamond here, senior linebacker, part of the original team, along with Philip Marshall, who's definitely the right outside linebacker. Kevin Moeller, another guy who was part of the original team. So Marshall's definitely the starter at right outside linebacker. I do like Clay Diamond here at left outside linebacker. Not that fast, but I think he has very good run-stopping traits. Not a good pass rusher, though. I wish he had a little bit better power move. And that's Randy Carpenter down here, another guy part of the original team, and a redshirt junior, so he does have 1 more year of eligibility. He's going to be one of the rare guys to leak into year 5, you know, from our original team. Haven't seen any of him, but I do like the traits, and I think he'll be a very good player going into next year. Maybe someone who could even play a little D-end. He goes up 1 point when you put him to D-end. So it really comes down to Bobby Price or Chris Carter here for the middle linebacker spot. Price, very good speed at 89, and we certainly could use some speed in the linebacking core. Tackling, Carter, way better hit power, but looks like Price, better power move. Carter does make up for it with a good finesse move. Equal block shed, equal pursuit. Play rec, though, for Price at 78, and you really like that. Pretty equal in coverage, although Price at 67 press is a lot better. So this is tricky because both are underclassmen, so it really just comes down to who do we want to be the linebacker for the next couple years in the middle. And I think Carter probably would be better outside than Price would be. I think we'll just honestly both keep them at middle linebacker for now. But we can mix them around. We don't really have to commit to that. I think we should put one more guy on the inside. Will the game give us a middle linebacker walk-on? I think we are required for 4 middle linebackers, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong. Leak, I do like at right outside linebacker. Muller, I do like here as well. He goes down a bunch. I think we'll just put Mike Green there as the place filler because he's a red shirt anyway. So linebacker is, I guess, done. Diamond, we'll start left outside linebacker. I want Carpenter to get some playing time as well. He has a good power move there as a guy in like a 3-4 coming off the edge. Carter and Price will both get time. James Johnson redshirted, a little undersized. Not sure if he'll really work into the rotation. Leak, we might redshirt Leak, but I'm not sure. And Philip Marshall will again start. And look at our corners. We only have 4 corners. And this is exactly what I was talking about when I said I wished we had one in the transfer portal. So free safety, like I said, I wanted to transition Davis here. We're going to have Pellin start at free safety. And Davis goes all the way down to a 69 corner. That's pretty rough. I think that's a little harsh. I mean, his coverage traits aren't that bad. I mean, they're not the best, but I think he's better than a 69 overall corner. What does Butler go to? He goes down to a 65. So either way, I mean, safeties are going to be a little higher rated regardless. And what does he go down to a 69? What about Pelland? And he goes down to 66. A dramatic drop-off here from Davis, though. And I was not expecting that. Even if he does go down, he's still our 3rd best corner. I mean, he'll probably go down past Clark after training. Do JUCOs still get training results? Or just players who were on the roster last year? And we just have no speed here in the back end. Taylor, he's more of a strong safety at 84 speed. These guys not too fast either, but they should see a little bump in that category. So, we just have no options here. We have these athletes too. Dominic Green, what is he gonna go? What is he gonna be? Can't be a receiver, so he's got to be a linebacker or a safety. A 63 overall corner, 76 speed. I don't think that's gonna work. So he's definitely a safety. He's definitely got to be a strong safety. But I think with that speed, I don't know. Linebacker, he's really not good. So we will just go with our gut there, put him at strong safety. Not too pleased with it. And that's just rough. Taylor I kind of liked as a strong safety as well, but I guess we'll just leave him at free safety for now. And we have no depth here in the secondary. This is bad. We're going to need to sign like 2 or 3 corners, a couple safeties at least. And this is by far, I think, going to be the weakness of this team. So just by necessity, I really think we have to put Davis there. I mean, we want to get him on the field. And I mean, we'll probably give him some looks at safety as well. But very thin here at corner. And our front 7, particularly our defensive line, because we are going to replace 2 players at linebacker. So our back 7 is going to probably be the weakness of this team. And really hope guys like Rob Bain and our defensive end rotation can pick it up. So this is what we're looking at in the secondary. Not too good. And maybe we transition like a receiver. Like, do any of these guys have any coverage ratings? I doubt it. Get some two-way players going on. Yeah, nothing here. Kenneth Pope, 60 man, 59 zone, 53 press. And he would just be a 47 corner, a 50 safety. So I don't think we're getting any luck there. Probably not at running back either. Sam Manning does have some coverage traits, but just barely over 40. So the secondary is going to be very bad, and we really lack speed back there. Our new kicker, Fred Castillo, and like I said, his kick power bad. 65 kick power, 64 kick accuracy. So if we think we had it bad with Dylan Mackey, we are really in for it this season. Eddie Stevens, of course, will be our punter. And now Rick Kent, what's his blocking? We talked about his defensive tackle traits earlier, but what about blocking? That looks pretty good. 78 pass block, 70 run block, 70 impact block. So I think he might be our left tackle of the future. 66 along the offensive line. And we'll have Heidemann for 2 more years. And I think Kent might be ready to take over. So I like that. That was kind of easy. 61 speed, 79 strength. So the strength will get a little better. Stamina, 73. And I like that. Rick Kent to the left tackle. And with Bobby Marcus as well, we brought in 4 offensive linemen throughout this season. That's funny. Rick Kent and then Riley Kent. Do not confuse them. Bobby Marcus on the interior at center. He'll have to sit out a season. And then we also brought in Richard Walker and Travis Thomas here at right tackle, who's going to be a redshirt. So that's going to do it for position changes. And I'll see what we get with training results. All right, let's get into training results and see who is the biggest progression of the offseason. That Archibald goes up to an 87, and that now marks the highest player we've ever had on this team. 5'7", 172. And he's coming off a very, very good junior season. And he should see a bunch of improvement there as a senior. Rob Bain up to an 84. Justin Hill up to an 83. Heidemann in the 80s now. Pinson at 80. So 5 players in the 80s. And we'll take that. Reggie Watkins plus 6. That might be the biggest uptick we've seen now, up to 330 pounds. And he's going to be a force there with Rob Bain on the interior. Scott Mwakpour up to a 78. Jeff Harris, a true junior, up to a 78. Brian Joseph goes up to a 78 as well. Going to be the center. Kenny Johnson, we're going to need him and Robert Williamson to really hold it down back there in the secondary. Philip Marshall also plus 6 along with Watkins. So 2 guys there in the front 7. Lenny Butler also up plus 6. I think we only had 2 guys at plus 6 last year. Now 3 already as we're scrolling through. Greg Walker up to a 75. Lawrence Jackson up to a 75 as well. He's up plus 6. And he's equal now with Greg Walker. Tito Cruz up plus 6. And I think he might be the guy at right guard. Still haven't seen Don Inge yet. His biggest competitor there for that spot. Bobby Marcus goes up plus 6 at center. Love that extra year progression that they get. You know, he's going to have to sit out due to transferring. Bobby Price here up to a 73. Probably will be the starter. I mean, kind of pulling away now Carter, the true freshman, but we'll still get Carter on the field. Bobby Price at 90 speed, and he's faster than all our safeties, besides Chance Pelland. Dusty Alexander up to a 72 will be our highest rated running back. Castillo up to a 70. Let's see what the kick power went up to. Up to 71, so much needed boost there, but probably still can't hit beyond 35 or so. Craig Jones up plus 6. So do these redshirt players, do they get extra bonus, or is that wrong? So that'll do it here with training results. What's Walker? I want to see the arm talent here for these guys. Did I pass it? Here we go. So Lawrence Jackson still does have the stronger arm at 83. Walker at 79, but more accurate at 81. And now we're going to sim ahead to cut players. And we're only going to have to cut one guy, I believe, just that extra player that the CPU signed for us. And this is also the part where I kind of divvy up how many roster spots we need to fill for next season, as we only have 63 guys on the roster. So that gives us an excess of 7 scholarships that we can use up, plus the players that we're going to be losing. It might not be a big graduation class because we lost a ton of guys last year, but we'll divvy that up now. So 7, we already have 7 scholarships to work with, plus these 2 that'll give us 9 as they're both going to graduate. 3 more here, 12, 13. Scott and Walkport will move on. 14, 15, 16, a few defensive players there. 17, Cruz. Malcolm Graham, 18, 19, Diamond. So already we're up to like 20 spots there with Dan, 21, 22, 23, 24. So we actually can just use up again all 25 of our scholarships, because actually we have to cut a player here. We're going to cut Bryant Harris. He was not part of our recruiting class. Sorry. You're out of our region as well. So we only have 62 players on the roster. And again, we're going to have a heavy, heavy recruiting cycle. And now I'm going to go position by position and see what we're working with. So we have 3 underclassmen quarterbacks. We don't need one, but if one sticks out that's interested, we'll definitely go for him. At running back, we have all underclassmen, so especially getting Mario McBride in the transfer portal, that really helped us going forward. So we don't really have to get a running back for like another year or two. At receiver, we're going to have to replace our top 3 guys, and then Childress and Coleman will probably step in as our starters, but Archibald, Pinson, Scott, and Wakpour, we're going to have to bring in probably 2 receivers in this class. At tight end, we're going to lose Graham, so definitely have to bring in at least 1, but ideally 2. Actually, I don't know. We probably could just hang on with 3 tight ends for the next few years. And Watkins being a bust really hurt. I thought he was going to be able to be a big contributor in year 1. Riley Kent is going to graduate, so we'll try and fill his spot in the roster. We do have to look ahead as Heidemann will be a year away from graduation as well, so I have to probably add at least 1 more tackle. Murphy has 1 more year of eligibility. Joseph will graduate. Cruz and Angel both graduate, so probably have to fill in like 3 spots there on the interior. We're going to lose another tackle, so probably a couple tackles and a few interior linemen, most likely. D-end, we only have 4. We're going to lose Conine, and then Johnson and Jones will be out after that. So at least 2 D-ends in this class. D-tackle, at least 2. We got to fill Bain and Watkins as they're going to move on, and Witherspoon will then step in as the top D-tackle in year 5. Clay Diamond's going to move on. Carpenter, only 1 more year of eligibility, so at least 1 or 2 there. And 2 seniors here, so probably 2 linebackers, maybe 3. Corner, we definitely need at least 2 guys. We need some speed and some youth there. Chance Pelland, we're going to have to add another safety. And we really just need safeties with speed. And that's going to probably be our priority. Kicker will be all right unless we can maybe find an upgrade. And punter, we don't really need to worry about that quite yet. And that is it, folks. That's the offseason here as we head into year 4 of this dynasty. And again, a big thank you to all the loyal subscribers and viewers. I really appreciate it. And the further we get along with this, the more I have fun with it and enjoy it. So I hope you are as well. And next episode, we'll pick it up a little in the preseason here as we'll get a recruiting board reveal and check out how it's going to shape up in year 4 of the recruiting cycle. We'll look at our schedule and look at our red shirts and depth chart as well, and then start the season and preview it, and we'll get a look at the top 25, the opening Heisman watch, and all that good stuff. So this is where I'm going to leave you, folks. Thank you so much for watching. I love doing the off seasons, and I already look forward to next year's. So as always, everybody, it's been real, and be well. I'll see you next time for the preseason.